Hello and welcome to Stampy's Funland. This one's going to be a little bit different. Instead of going and playing a older minigame, I am going to be riding all of the rides that I have built inside of my Funland. So we're going to start off with the creeper coaster and then go around and play a few of the other rides that I have scattered around the area. So let's go through the queue. Back in the early days, I always built like an area for a line, as if my Funland was going to be really popular and there'd need to be a big line. Basically, I started off making my Funland more like a theme park, I guess. And, you know, had the fake trees and the queues and stuff. And in the end, it kind of just became a hub for my mini-games. I kind of like the idea of it being like an actual proper theme park. But, it's like space got a little bit more precious, and I realized that mini games were a little bit better to build because you could play them more times, and every time you play them they could be a bit different because there's different strategies and stuff. But the rides would spend a really long time, you know, making them, and then you could kind of ride them once and then that would be it. But yeah, this is the creeper coaster, kind of one of the most known things out of my entire Funland, one of the biggest things as well. So as you saw, we rode through the mouth of a creeper. We're now kind of a little bit gruesome, but we're riding around the rib cage of the creeper. Of course, you can see the enormous block of TNT inside of the creeper. You often get a bunch of Googlies spawning inside of here because it's not very lit up. But eventually you get stuck. I haven't tested it. There we go. And we went forward again. So normally you'll just bounce and then you'd go inside of there. And then you kind of get flung outside. This is kind of the top part here. Some of the timings are a bit different with the way that the minecarts work now. Things have kind of changed a little bit. But the idea was you kind of get to the top really slowly and then end up dipping down. And then we go down here through a cave of lava. One of the best parts is coming up now when there's a guy called Mushroom Stew who lives inside of here. There he is. And he throws you a bowl of mushroom stew, which I can eat a little bit later on. And the cool things about doing roller coasters in the console edition is it's probably the best version of the game to do roller coasters in. The minecarts are just a little bit smoother than the Java edition, and on Bedrock they're just really slow. So it's just really boring to make roller coasters. And I think I might end up doing another roller coaster in the future. But what I really want them to do is to make it so you could make the tracks go vertical. So imagine if like you had a slope and then say if I did a block here and then you placed another one on, it would like link up and you could do like a straight vertical drop or something. I just feel like they have to add that at some point, and so I'm just going to hold out, I don't know, in the hopes that they might end up, you know, changing the way that minecarts or tracks work in some way in the future. But anyway, let's move on now. This is Googlies Manor. It's my haunted house. It doesn't look so scary in the daytime, but the idea is it's supposed to look a bit like a face. You got the mouth and the teeth there, and then the eyes and stuff, just to make it extra spooky. And yeah, this is another very old thing built in my Funland. There's a scary music track which you're supposed to play, which just makes like scratching sounds and stuff as you go and make your way through. Starts off with a rather drab but normal looking living room, but there's a ghostly door opening back and forth over here as if there's a ghost in the room. This area here, so the idea of this is that it's supposed to be like a Googlies dinner party, and you come through. There's a mob like kind of spawner at the top there, like a mob trap, and then they would fall through the holes and be stuck in the seats, and then it would be as if they're having a meal. Sometimes it works and you do actually get Googlies, but normally, like it is today, we have sadly an empty room with no Googlies in. The more time you spend in the world, the more chance you have of having them there. Then you go through here, and then there's an arrow, and then there's a jump scare with a pumpkin. Very simple redstone, but this was all some of the very first redstone that I did. So, you know, in the day, I was very proud of that working. It's unbelievably simple now, but I was very happy back in the day when I built this. And then this is probably my favorite part. There's a cake at the end of the corridor. You walk to the cake, and then suddenly, no, you drop down, and it looks like you're going to land in lava, but you don't. You make your way through here. There's a few cells. You can see inside of this one, there's some bones just lying down on the floor. Basically, there's a dispenser that just fires that up through the floor like that. Evil Mr. Porkchop, of course, the pig. I have mentioned his backstory in one of my Halloween specials. I think the one from like a few years ago, if you want to check that out. Then we have a scary child's bedroom with a few kind of goofy looking ghosts flying around. We go into the next room, and then as we go in, all of the lights get turned off as we're inside of here. There's a chest here with a creeper face in made out of TNT, and then after a while the lights would turn back on, but we can now go through the secret hidden part behind the painting. And then this is kind of like the happy room after all of the scary stuff. It's like you made it out, here's some flowers and some cakes just to cheer you up after your horrible time going through there. So there we go. This is This is Googlies Manor, and you can kind of tell why, like, you know, you couldn't do that again and again and again. Like, it's kind of cool just to show it once, but, you know, you'll kind of get bored going through again and again, kind of like the roller coasters. And oh, actually, speaking of boring, this is probably the thing coming up now, my least favorite thing out of my entire Funland, and this is my Helter Skelter. It's the big tree. The problem is it's really big, so it really stands out, but it's really ugly. I wish I made it look better. If I build it, it doesn't even match up. Look, the sides aren't even the same. It's a right mess. So yeah, it just looks a bit horrible. Doesn't look much like a tree, and it's like literally the most boring thing in the world. So you go in the little queue. The queue looks quite nice with the glowstone and stuff. There's a huge ladder leading up to the top of the tree and a bunch of glowstone. And the idea of this is it's kind of a bit like a roller coaster, but I wanted it to be just with gravity, like no power rails. And you basically whiz your way around the outside of the Helter Skelter until you make your way to the bottom. And yeah, that's about it. So press that to set it off, and you kind of glitch through the wall on your entire way down. Even if you try and go in third person, it like puts you back in first person. There is zero fun to be had. This was part of the the learning of me how to play Minecraft and how to build things. Certainly not any of my proudest work there with the Helter Skelter. Right then, let's move on to the next ride. So the next ride, actually, I can't ride, but I can kind of tell you about, and it's this thing. You may have noticed it. Loads of people who haven't seen the episode where I build this always like get glimpses of them in the background, and they always think it's something to do with hit the target. They're like, oh, there's something in the sky, hit the target's going to attack. But no, they're meant to be clouds. They're my fake clouds. So the way this ride would work is you would ride a boat through this tunnel. The boat would lift up through the water to the top, and this is the part that doesn't work anymore. With the new boats, the water elevators no longer work, so that's the part that's broken. But eventually it would get you to the top, fire you out, you would fall down and land on that cloud. You would then launch your way down here and land on the top of this rainbow, which is over there, slide down that and land into a pot of gold, and then that would be the end of the ride. And when I first built it, it would work completely automatically. So once you sail your boat in, it would lift you up, fire you out, and you would end up in the pot without having to press a button. And it's really cool because you get an amazing view. It's the tallest thing in my world, and you can kind of see yourself flying down. It was actually a really fun thing to ride, apart from the boring bit going up. So hopefully with the aquatic update when it comes out on Xbox 360, sadly it won't work on Xbox One because Xbox One isn't getting it, but on 360 at least, I think there will be a way to lift up boats, apparently with like soul sand or something, maybe with magma. There may be a way to fix this game, so I am holding out hope that we will be able to ride it once again. And right, what else is there? Oh yeah, there's the it's a lovely world. So most of my rides are, you know, pretty original. You know, they're not based on actual rides from real places. This is kind of the one, I think, the one exception to that. And it's basically based on It's a Small World from Disneyland. And when I built this, I hadn't actually ever ridden It's a Small World. I have ridden it now. And yeah, this is supposed to be like It's a Lovely World. And it's, yeah, you kind of sail around and see the history of my lovely world. So there is music. If I press the button, that should start playing some music with some note blocks. Anything going to happen? It might not be working. We'll see whether we hear any when we make our way around. So once again, this used to be completely automatic. The new boats don't work properly. So normally you'd get into the boat, and then the way that the water flows would just guide the boat around, and you wouldn't have to press anything. Water doesn't push boats as much anymore, so you kind of have to steer a bit. But let's go through the history then. So this was my first night in my lovely world where I was attacked by a zombie. There was a glitch when the console edition first came out, where when you tried to sleep, you'd always get woken up by a googly. So that's a little nod to that. That's me. That's Gregory, my first dog. There's the doghouse. There's the love garden. I even had my love garden all the time then. Might recognize this. This is my bedroom with the secret entrance, and of course my cake. I might actually have a little bit of that cake while we go. Here are my lunar friends on the moon. I think that's about as good as I could have done my lunar friends. There's probably more details I could add now. And then over here, we just have a bunch of some of my older helpers. Maybe I need to add some of my new helpers in here just to add to it. Here, this was Hit the Target's old castle. You can see angry looking Hit the Target on the top up here. Around the other side, we get some more of my helpers. That's Squid, Finball, and Ank, I believe. And then here we have Henry and Hilda saying goodbye at the end. And then we go around here. So I think the music wasn't working, sadly. But yeah, you get a pretty good idea of what that ride is. But once again, quite fun to build, not very much fun to ride, which is why I have stuck doing mini games. I probably will do more rides in the more rides in the future, but for now I think I'll mainly stick with mini games. I can have my circus. It's not a ride, but it's kind of one of the other few things inside of the Funland which isn't a mini game. So little nod to the circus in there, because we're probably not going to see that again inside of the Stampy's Funland series. But I believe, unless I am missing anything, there's only one more ride for me to show you, and I like this one. This is the banana, and it's literally a banana, and it's called the banana. The idea was, I was trying to think of how to do, like, you know, the pirate ship rides that you see, you know, where it's like a pirate ship going woo, woo, like that. I wanted to try and do that. Of course, I couldn't make something that big move and swing inside of Minecraft, so the idea that instead of the whole thing moving, you're going up and down, and I actually designed this ride without it being a banana, but it was kind of just a similar shape. And then I was like, this looks a bit like a banana. Maybe I could make it look like that. So the minecart just goes up and down, up and down, up and down. Very, very simple. But I had to do a little bit of work just to get the timing working with the redstone, because you'll notice as it goes back and forth, this track in the middle keeps switching back and forth. That is to keep me on the track. And then eventually the timing just works out so that the track changes, and then it will go and put me back to the start of the ride. And then with just one button press, I'll be able to play again. So I think it should be this next one now. There we go. So you can see the track changed, and then it puts me back to the beginning. So, I mean, it's not anything crazy advanced, but at the time I was very happy, because I wanted to make sure that, you know, it would be a case of you're riding the ride, you would ride the ride for a certain amount of time, and then it will go and put you back to the beginning, and you wouldn't need to break the minecart or get off yourself or stop it or have someone else stop it, you know, kind of like you would expect a normal ride to be. So yeah, this is the banana. So we're kind of having a little quick glimpse around now, but I believe they are the only rides that I have built inside of my Funland. I really want to do a water ride at some point, like a proper one. I've had the idea for ages of doing kind of like a whirlpool that you're like going around the outside and then maybe drop down the middle or something. I've attempted to design that a few times, and every time it just hasn't worked. And I'm glad I didn't actually get a working version, because the way that water and boats have changed so much, like even if it did work at one point, it probably wouldn't be working anymore. But yeah, probably at some point we're going to see that. But apart from that, I think I'm mainly going to be sticking with mini games. And so yeah, that's what the rest of this series is going to be, is me playing a whole bunch of the different mini games around my Funland. But hopefully you enjoyed this historic look back at some of the older rides that I've built in my Funland, and maybe brought back one or two memories if you saw it when I was actually building these rides a long time ago. But sadly, that is going to be the end of this episode here. In the description, there'll be all of the videos of me when we were actually playing these, riding these rides for the first time, especially the raindrops ride, so you can actually see how that would all work, as well as a playlist which has all of the different Stampy's Funland videos there if you want to go and yes, see me playing more of these mini games. But for now, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all later. Bye!